YouTube, what the crap's going on? Happy Saturday, HeirofCarthage here. Maybe you're not watching this on a Saturday, but you might be, and if you are, I hope it's a good Saturday. I'm excited. It's the weekend. It was kind of a crazy week for me, so I'm really excited to get some downtime. I'm gonna try and catch up on some videos, and I think I got a doozy for you here. I'm behind on playing battles, though. I think I'm gonna try to do so later today on my Discord, so keep an eye out for that. If I get some free time this evening, I'm gonna try and play some battles with you all, and then I'll be recording some campaign. I'm way behind on all my campaigns right now, but they're going to continue. My intention for the next thing I film, since it's a Saturday, I'm going to make time to get some Grom campaign filmed today, because I think that's the one I'm most behind on, and then we'll continue on the others. But I've got an interesting one for you here today. This one is going to be the Vampire Coast versus Chaos, but this isn't your typical Vampire Coast. Yeah, sure, there's a few undead units here that are actually vampires. But we've like Aranessa, she's not dead. These pirates aren't dead. These pirates aren't dead. That's right, this is a mostly living Vampire Coast army. So this is going to be a lot of Sartosa Free Company, and a lot of, what do you call it? Yeah, Sartosa Free Company and Free Company Militia. Sorry, Sartosa Militia, which is basically the equivalent of Free Company Militia. There are some undead units. You've got the Gallows Giant Necrofex Colossus. There's 2 deck droppers, both with pistols. And then there are a Night Terror unit back here. And the Night Terrors, remember, has anti-large damage that they do, as well as being armor piercing, and as well as being a very cool looking unit in general. Really like that one. That CA did a good job with it. Now, as far as Chaos goes, I see what I think is a very intelligent move to start off with here for Chaos, which is they are widespread, expecting the Vampire Coast to come heavy on artillery, and basically what they've done is tanked up on a bunch of shielded warriors. They've got a bunch of Chaos Marauders up front, and then some shielded warriors behind those, and then in the very back, they have some warriors with great weapons to do a little extra damage. Honestly, I would have probably just ditched the warriors with great weapons, but occasionally you do need some armor piercing against the coast, so, this is probably a smarter, more balanced theme, and you can see the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth far to the back, and then over here we've got an Exalted Hero and Archaon the Everchosen. Archaon is rocking the Burning Head and a Fireball, and he's also got Kindle Flame, which will cause a little extra fire damage anytime he casts. Here's the Exalted Hero, and then we've got the Chaos Knights with Lances. And then further on top of that, there's a couple of Warhounds with poison, so I don't think this is an inappropriately chosen Chaos army at all. Plenty of shields, well spread out, ready to flank and go after artillery. As far as the picks for the pirates, you may be wondering, what the heck? This army doesn't seem very big for the cheap units they've picked. Triple gold chevrons on the human units in order to give them more leadership, melee attack, melee defense, and it actually impacts missile strength too. So the Sartosa Militia are going to be dishing out more missile damage because I think it's their reload that gets faster when they get the chevrons. And reload also plays a role in the missile strength because missile strength is calculated based on a 10-second interval usually, like how much damage they can output over that 10-second interval. We're going to see the deck droppers come up and do the initial skirmishing, as well as the Gallows Giant, which is a shorter range Necrofex Colossus, but the Gallows Giant can be painfully effective if he gets some blobs to shoot into. Not a great unit overall for the cost, but certainly not bad if he can get into the right positions. Here you're going to see him melt a bunch of Chaos Marauders just to get things started. Looks like Archaon had fired off a fireball at him, or at least tried to, but I didn't see that actually follow through. Yeah, there's the Gallows Giant putting some beating on a couple of these Marauder units, and he's going to fall back. It's a good choice. Look at this, the deck droppers immediately starting to harass the Chaos Knights with Lances. I like this pick. This is a very powerful, very expensive unit, and not a fun one to stop, especially with the army that you have right now. Now, the Warhounds with Poison pull off of their initial vector to head all the way around the flank, and are now coming right up the center. I don't know if they're meaning to hold the Gallows Giant or what, but these guys are moving more towards the center. They do stray a little bit close to the Sartosa Militia, and they open fire, and 20 missile damage isn't bad. These guys are going to be dishing out some decent damage to anything without some pretty significant armor. You can see that some of the units here for Chaos don't have that significant armor, and sure enough, look at this, one Warhound's already routed. And then you can see the Gallows Giant's got 41 kills. Now, Archaon's going to come up the flank. There's a perfect setup for a Burning Head here. So I'm expecting the Chaos player to potentially end this battle in the next few seconds, and sure enough, he spins up a cast. It's just slightly off target. It gets some really good initial damage, and then you can see it veers just slightly off target, but almost ends the battle as quick as it started there with Archaon. So honestly, it was a pretty well-placed Burning Head. It looked like it, at least, from the Cone of Fire, but it just didn't stay connected with the Sartosan line there. Now, we've got Salt Spite. I forgot to call her out earlier, so Salty McSharklegs is right in the middle of this battle, doing her strange style of pole dance fighting, and it's working. The Chaos Knights with Lances got owned. The Night Terrors are going to go down, but they're getting some really good support from the deck droppers. Let's see how the melee goes. Now, Chaos Marauders over here with the help of some Warriors, they did punch through these low armor units. But over here, I mean, look at this, 13 kills on that Free Company, 53 here. They are holding. And some of the the Sartosan Militia has split to the flanks. And a lot of the Marauders are already routing. The Doggos have come back from routing, and you're going to see the Gallows Giant now having to face a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, which is not ideal. I like how the Militia is falling back and choosing different firing positions. Here's one of the reasons why you're going to triple chevron these units. When the Doggos do come get these guys in melee, it's actually not going to go good for the dogs. They'll get a little bit of damage done, but as this fight prolongs, the dogs are going to be taking some pretty good hits back. The poison's really the only thing keeping them from getting near instantly owned, at least in my opinion. Look at this, the Gallows Giant's able to hold up long enough for Aranessa to come over, and then there was a summon that came out of the Gallows Giant. Now remember, this Vampire Coast army has no magic. They spent everything on melee. So this is an all-in risk. And Archaon is the one with the magic here. Now, Archaon does not get tons of wins of magic. He gets decent wins of magic sometimes. I don't know what the starting wins of magic was because C8 Please, they don't put it in the replay. But look at this. Warriors with great weapons got overwhelmed. They're now getting run off. These units have high leadership. Some of them routed initially from a big clash, but they've come back from routing. The dogs got routed in that fight, as I said they would. And then over here, even though these are Chaos Warriors, they have really good armor, they're outflanked now. And they just don't have enough fast-moving units to hold down all these Sartosa militia. Now, that said, Chaos is doing a decent job against the Gallows Giant. He's going down. Aranessa's busy trying to fight all these Chaos Warriors. Archaon drops another Burning Head, hoping to get rid of these militia, but they just dodge it. And then the deck droppers have been an absolute nuisance for Chaos and have caused tons of damage all throughout this fight. If we look, they haven't picked up a Chevron yet, but they're about halfway to one, and they can still dive into melee. There's some units in the back that the Vampire Coast hasn't regrouped. I mean, Chaos came here, again, with what I thought was a fairly well-picked army, but it just didn't work. Just didn't work. Archaon wasn't able to land that Burning Head, and that darn near was a game over. Look at that Fisherman's Net holding Archaon in place. He's being shot from behind while engaged by Aranessa. So really nice setup here. Again, he's armored, but all these shots, they take a toll. They take a toll. You can see that adding up. So as tough as Archaon is, Aranessa's anti-large, and then the support that she had from these other units, and then look, another free Sartosa militia free up there. So Sartosa militia and the Sartosa Free Company coming in clutch here, which is honestly a pretty impressive performance. You don't see these units used all the time with the Vampire Coast. And so this was an interesting idea. It worked for him here. I doubt it works every time. He took a big risk, Setzer did, by not having magic. It's always a big risk. The Gallows Giant was a pretty risky unit too. It only got 70 kills, but it did hold up the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and Archaon right there in the middle where all the other guns could start shooting at them. And they weren't able to go chase down other guns. Now, if you had left that Gallows Giant alone and, say, taken Archaon and your Shaggoth to chase Free Company militia, well, then the Gallows Giant could have easily been shooting into the back of your expensive infantry. So it's kind of a lose-lose in that respect for Chaos. They did have a number of fast-moving units, but when the Knights with Lances and Archaon and the Exalted Hero all plowed in to Aranessa, not only was it a losing engagement for them, it also put all of their units into one spot, and they couldn't go chase down these 4 Sartosa militia. that did a really good job in this battle. And look at the kills on some of these guys. I know it's probably mostly Marauder kills, but still, that's a lot of kills to rack up for these units. The Sartosa Free Company. And the deck droppers I thought were a nice touch too. So again, risky to not have magic here, and they darn near got KO'd by Archaon. He almost took them out. If that Burning Head would have just veered a little bit more to the left or something similar to that, that battle was probably over. That battle was probably over right then and there, as that whole line would have gotten chewed up. So it was a bit risky the way that engagement took place for the Pirates of Sartosa here, but it ended up working out for them this time. But yeah, I don't know. The Vampire Coast is an interesting faction. I'm going to bounce out here real quick, and let's chat this one through for a minute if you all don't mind, now that we've gotten to see the battle. And again, that battle could go either way, I think, depending on that on the set of circumstances for the given battle. But with the Pirates of Sartosa, again, surprised to not see magic. The magic for the Vampire Coast is actually pretty darn good. I mean, especially if you had like a Vampire Fleet Captain. They can do healing. It won't work on the not undead units, though. So the Vampire Fleet Captain would be good for summoning some deckhand mobs, but not much good for healing in that particular case. A death source or a death captain would have always been good against Chaos. Chaos can't heal, and so just having something as simple as Spirit Leech can be really painful on like a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth if you're just dropping Spirit Leech over and over again. A Gunnery Wight. I remember this unit can increase, check this out, the accuracy and reload of certain units. That can be a big deal. It can give ammunition, I think, to certain units as well. Yeah, so I mean, this can be a deadly unit. But I mean, in this case, like I said, it worked out just fine. I'm not trying to double guess the Pirates of Sartosa too much. I'm just saying it's weird to see them not bring magic. Now remember, Lore of Deep here too is a pretty interesting one, because the spells here, I think one of my favorite ones, I think, is the Tide Call. No, it's not Tide Call. One of these is a summon, I think. Denizens of the Deep, yeah. Can summon a Rotting Promethean. There's Vangeist Revenge. But yeah, there's some good stuff in here, like summoning the Rotting Prometheans is a pretty interesting one. There's a lot of different stuff that the Vampire Coast can do from a magic standpoint, so I was surprised to not see the magic. But at the same time, I mean, they were trying to focus all their spin. I mean, see a Free Company is 450. If I triple gold chevron it, it's now a 677 unit. So, I mean, it's pretty expensive. And then as far as the Sartosa Militia, which I like how they have the exact same banner. It's going to be the same cost, I believe. Yeah, 677 for all those units, so pretty expensive. You'd have to trade off the deck droppers, which again are only 450, so that was a pretty good value, honestly, being the deck droppers at 450. Being able to do that, to me, was a pretty good deal. You got a lot of damage out of those guys for a pretty low cost, especially considering the handgun variants are not double the cost, but they're a considerable amount more. Artillery is just the obvious pick for the Vampire Coast, and clearly that's what Chaos prepared for. And so sometimes just doing something different can throw people off enough to gain you a victory. And in this case, I think that's what happened. It probably wouldn't work against the same person over and over again, but again, just doing something different here was enough to throw off the opponent and get a win. So I would say that that's one of the things that I continue to love about Warhammer in the Total War environment, which is the factions are very diverse to begin with, and then there's a ton of diversity within most of the factions, and the Vampire Coast is probably not considered to be a terribly diverse faction. But, I mean, even them, like you said, you saw something different here. Mostly not undead army. They sacrificed magic to have more melee. It worked out in this case. Doesn't work out in every case, and they were able to beat the Chaos Warriors in melee, which is not something you would typically expect to hear. Which is, oh, hey, I'm going to play the Vampire Coast, and I'm just going to go beat the Chaos Warriors in melee. No, not what I would have expected. So, hope you all enjoyed that one. Fun, quick battle. I'll be back with more soon. It is a Saturday. I'm going to go do a few things with the family, get caught up on a few things, but I will be recording more, and I will make sure you have a weekend full of good content. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you all soon.